Now, you see, here we are dealing with the body fluid and the circulation, blood circulation. Now, once it comes to the body fluid, we have two major body fluids present within the human being. One is the blood and another is lymph. Now, color wise, if we distinguish, blood we find it is a red color fluid, and lymph is basically it is a colorless fluid. Okay. Now, blood uh, is actually composed of or made up of, it is a mixture, okay, 70% water, and we have blood cells, okay, and we have certain proteins also. Okay, now if another one term will come across is, if we minus the blood cells from the blood, the liquid we get is the plasma, and from the plasma if we minus fibrinogen, the coagulating agent present in the blood, the liquid is left is called serum. So these plasma and serum are generally, it is transplanted for therapeutic uses, and it has got a various functions that will you'll learn in your later part in your higher studies. Okay, now if we consider the composition of blood, you see they are mainly made up of three things. One is erythrocyte, that is RBC, then we have the leukocytes, that is the WBC, and we have the thrombocytes, that is the blood platelets. Now if we talk of erythrocytes, the color red color or the bloody red color, what we say is mainly because of the erythrocyte, the RBC. Now what is RBC? RBC, they are some kind of a biconcave disc like structure, okay, and these disc like structure, they have got an oxygen binding protein iron complex, and this iron and protein complex imparts the red color, and we call it as a hemoglobin. Okay, so this red color is done by the hemoglobin. Now the all long bone marrows, okay, long bone marrows, they produces the RBCs, and it has got a lifespan of 120 days. Okay, now we in a normal human blood, the per cubic millimeter, if we talk of, we have 3.5 million of these RBC per cubic millimeter of blood, and they can survive for 120 days, and they are destroyed in the liver and spleen, and new RBCs, they take birth in the long bone marrows. Okay, now the next part we come across is the leukocytes or WBCs. Now this imparts these, there are many varieties of leukocytes. They are granulocytes and agranulocytes, and they are only responsible for immunity, and their average lifespan is 6 to 8 days. Okay, now these leukocytes, see, whenever a person suffers from any infection, when the blood test is done, the primary thing is they'll show you an increased number of WBC. Okay, now for example, eosinophil is also another one composition, one type of cell in leukocyte. Now for example, if a person is suffering from cough and cold, that eosinophil, if the blood content has got a large number of eosinophil, the person would be prone to this cough and cold. Okay, so that also we'll be doing it. And then the last part, what we know, the blood contains is a thrombocytes, and they contains of blood platelets, and along with the calcium and with the fibrinogen, you see the fibrinogen protein that is present in the blood, they help in a clot formation. That means they prevent a large blood loss from the body. Now here you see the leukocytes. Okay, now these leukocytes are of many types. You see RBC, platelets. Okay, now see leukocytes, I told you of eosinophil, basophil and neutrophil. Now eosinophil, basophil and neutrophil, now basically they are, see, cells that stand up in basic dye is known as basophils. Cells that are neutral staining, that is known as neutrophil, and acidic one is eosinophil. Now you see another one is T lymphocytes. They are monocytes and B lymphocytes, and these are only responsible for phagocytosis of pathogen and providing immunity to the body. Now see, we have a few major blood groups, blood group A, B, AB and O. Now these groups, they are tested by their rate of coagulation or their coagulation in antigen A and antigen B. Now blood group that coagulates in antigen A is termed as is blood group A. Coagulates in antigen B is termed as Blood group B, if coagulates in both, is AB, and coagulates in none, it is known as O. Now you see AB, they have got certain, see, they are actually antibodies produced in the blood. Now see, if we talk of a universal donor, person who can donate blood to any group is O. O is known as a universal donor. Now A can donate blood to blood group A, and O can also donate blood to blood group A. B can donate blood to B and O, and if a person having AB, A can donate blood to AB, can donate blood to A, can donate blood to B and O. But you see, if a person is having O group, it can receive only from blood group O. Okay. Now you see, the next topic is the coagulation of blood. Now we know we have got thrombocytes. Okay, thrombocytes, and the protein part present is, you know, that fibrinogen. So you see this thrombin, and enzyme is known as a thrombin. Okay, and another one is calcium. Calcium, fibrin, thrombin gives you prothrombin, and this thrombin plus fibrinogen gives you the clot. And after the blood clot, the liquid that passes out is known as a plasma. Now you see the lymph. If we talk of lymph, it is the liquid white material that squeezes out from the main blood capillaries. See, it is devoid of RBC. Okay, but here this lymph have got lymphocyte cells in it. Okay, that is fluid released out is called the interstitial fluid from the tissue, because since that, and that fluid, you know, has got an immense power of phagocytosis, and it is immunoresponse to the body. Okay. Now, what is the circulatory pathway? The circulatory pathway is a basic route taken by the blood to circulate oxygen and nutrient to the entire body. So, this circulatory system generally deals with two types. One is open and closed. If the complete separation of oxygen and deoxygenated blood is there, we call it as a closed system of circulation. If mixing of oxygen and deoxygenated blood is there, it is called as an open circulatory system. Okay, so heart is basically the pumping organ. Now if we see the diagram of heart properly, you see heart is a very tough muscular organ, and if we talk of human heart, it is generally of 4 chambered. We have 2 auricles, okay, and 2 ventricles. Now 2 auricles generally form the receiving chamber, and ventricles generally form the distributing chamber. Now the covering of the heart, it is known as a pericardium. Okay, and we have certain valves. The auricular ventricular valve is there. Okay, and valves at the base of the arteries and veins are also there. See, and we have got an septum, intra-auricular septum, okay, is there, that divides the auricle from the ventricle. That is known as intraventricular septum is there. See, tip of the heart is known as the apex. Generally, the left auricle forms the receiving chamber, and you know the contraction and relaxation of the heart is done through nerve fibers that is present in the SAN, that is sino-auricular node, that is known as origin. And you know, when the heart becomes very feeble and weak, this sino-auricular node is replaced by the pacemaker that generates the impulse for auto compression and relaxation within the heart. Okay, now the major aorta forms the distributing chamber, and the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava, you see, they form the major receiving chamber. The blood is received in the left auricle first. From the left auricle, it goes to the left ventricle, and then from the left ventricle, right auricle to right ventricle, and from the right ventricle it goes to the lungs for purification. Then again it comes to the left auricle, and from the left auricle it goes to the left ventricle and into the different parts of the body. Now here you see, we have got a method of simply recording the graph for the heartbeat, and that is known as ECG or electrocardiograph. Okay, so that the device is placed on the superficial arteries, and here the recording is taken on a paper. So that is known as ECG. You can see the difference between the thickness of the arteries and veins. See, arteries have got a thick internal and external layer. See, internal layer is same to all, but they have got a internal thick muscular fibrous layer. Okay, that means the internal layer is tunica intima, then tunica muscularis, and ultimately the final is tunica externa. And you see the lumen is more. See, the inner hollowness is more in case of an artery. It goes little thinner in case of vein, and you see only external and internal layer is there in the capillaries. See, they are devoid of the muscular layer entirely. Okay. Now, the method of contraction and relaxation together is known as the heartbeat. Okay, so we have got a double circulation inside the body. Why double circulation? Because one circle completes from the heart to the lungs, and the rest is from the different part of the body to the heart. So hence it is known as a double circulation. Okay, now finally we have certain disorders related to heart. First is the hypertension, when the blood pressure within the internal arteries increases, and that is more than 120. Okay, so it is very necessary to check the blood pressure. And finally, we have another one is CAD. What is CAD? It is a coronary artery diseases. Coronary artery diseases means there are certain deposit of calcium and fat or cholesterol layer in the arteries. Okay, so that is known as heart blockage also. Now, what is angina? Angina is a severe pain, This is a symptom of acute chest pain. So this is also another disease. And finally, the last disease is heart failure. That means the rupture of the valve due to the clot, and that is known as heart failure. And a massive one is termed as myocardial infarction. Okay, so that you learn in the higher studies if we go through there. See, inadequate blood supply may lead to the rupture of the blood tissue.